Hello, Mr. Alatorre. This is Bailey Shelley doing the demonstrative speech for SCC Community SCC. So what I'm here to demonstrate today is how to properly take someone's blood pressure manually. Now you wouldn't be doing this on yourself because it's extremely difficult, but someone would be doing it to you, or your doctor would be doing it to you. Before we start, to kind of explain important things of blood pressure. Blood pressure has a lot of health benefits, or I shouldn't say health benefits, but if you have bad blood pressure, which it would be high or low, it can cause a lot of health problems. There's four stages according to Mayo Clinic. There's 4 stages of high blood pressure. There's normal blood pressure, pre-hypertension, hypertension stage 1, and hypertension stage 2. Hypertension is just a fancy word for high blood pressure. There's also low blood pressure, but those aren't as big of a concern. High blood pressure typically affects people after their 40s, and it varies by stage how you would treat it. So to start, we're going to take our cuff. You take off your jacket. Normal blood pressure for an adult would be the systolic number, which is your top number, would be about 140, no more than 140, preferably lower. Your diastolic, which is the bottom number, should be lower in 80 and lower. And then as it goes higher, the risk factors for certain medical problems increase. So when we're doing this, I'm going to take your blood pressure cuff. Now if you're doing it on yourself, you'll most likely have a mechanical one that'll do it for you. But if it's being done manually, this is how you do it. Most blood pressure cuffs will have a little line on here to mark it up, where you need to mark up a major artery that runs to the arm. And it runs through the elbow, and that's how we measure blood pressure most of the time. So on here, we're going to do it on the left arm. So we're going to line it up with our line here. There's a valve in here that we need to make sure is closed, or else all the air will just go out. And when we're pumping up the blood pressure cuff, we don't want to go any higher than about 170 to 180, but preferably we want that number on the gauge to max out about 160, and that's when we're going to release the air so we can test blood pressure. So when we're testing this, what we're checking for through the stethoscope is we're going to try and listen for a heartbeat. We're going to listen for a pulse in the arm, and that's when we start, and that's how we can tell the top and bottom number. The first top number is when we first hear the pulse. The bottom number is when we stop hearing the pulse, and that's how we determine blood pressure. So we're going to put it on here. We're going to put the stethoscope right about where the elbow is. And then we're going to pump. The number we got on that was 115/75. So that would be normal. That would be normal for an adult. Child numbers do vary, but that would technically still be considered normal for a child. And blood pressure can always depend on the size of a person. So if a child's slightly more closer to an adult size, that could also vary when we're checking blood pressure. So that's how we do that. If we have any questions, feel free to ask. Do you have any questions? No? No questions? Are we all good? Thanks, guys. That
Can
is
I
it.
ask a question?